Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to do something in spite of fear. And so, therefore, you need to focus more on the building of strength than you do the elimination of fear. And again, that's where people miss it. They think if they were a courageous person, they wouldn't have any fear, which is not true at all. Courageous person is really more of a strong person. The courageous person still has fears. It's just that they have a greater trust in their ability to move in the face of those fears. And that's a powerful, powerful difference. And, this is what has been on my mind as of late. And, I'm fascinated by mythology. And I mentioned in the first episode how throughout history, again, in myth, in religious stories, in our own contemporary stories, there are the issues of giants. We're going to talk more about this by the end of this series. But, we have these famous stories of giants. Now, sometimes the giants are friendly, like in Gulliver's Travels or something like that. But oftentimes, those giants represent great threats. But as I said in the first episode, a giant is not some other being, so to speak. It is a exaggerated, superhuman version of a human form. So again, very much like fear, where fears are exaggerated or blown up versions of something that is naturally apprehensive. It's naturally apprehensive to be fearful of spiders. But when it gets to the level of an acrophobia and you can't hold a daddy long leg, now it's getting into an irrational form of fear. Now, we've covered fear before, and again, using the illustration of the anacrophobia, or maybe a fear of heights, and so you won't go to the top of the, Empire State Building or something and get even close to the edge. There's no way. You won't get near the window in a skyscraper and look outside. Why? You're not going to fall out. Well, because fear is irrational. Fear is not rational. Because I can explain to somebody very easily that a daddy long leg is not a venomous spider. It's not going to bite you. It's not going to hurt you. Okay? It is not going to do it. But they still won't let you put it on their arm. Does that mean they don't understand the words that I said when I said it won't hurt you? No, they understand it perfectly. They could read it in a textbook. You could show them a documentary on daddy long legs, and they still would not allow that spider on their arm. So it has nothing to do with what they know rationally. Fear, therefore, is irrational. And that tells you something. Again, it doesn't matter what you know. When it comes to things like fear and faith and belief and all these powerful, powerful emotions, it doesn't have to do with what you know intellectually or rationally. It has to do with what you see. What do you see with your mind's eye? Because I can take that same person who has a fear of spiders, and I can have them close their eyes, and I can paint a picture for them of, them in bed, and a real threatening big old spider comes crawling out, and a massive spider, venomous, and is crawling up the bed sheet, and I can get it into a very vivid description, and their heart rate will go up. They'll start sweating, all of it. They'll have all the very real reactions to something that's not even there. Okay, they know it's not there. So again, it doesn't matter what the rational side of their brain is saying. What matters is what they see with their mind's eye. Okay, so that's where the exaggeration happens. So when it comes to fear being the giants in your life, they are superhuman versions. They are exaggerated versions, exaggerated interpretations of something real. Okay, they're exaggerated. And so that's what fear is. So courage, again, as we defined it, is to have strength. It's to have the ability to face fear. It's strength also in the face of pain, the face of grief. We think of somebody who has to face the loss of a loved one. We say how courageous they are. Someone has to endure, long periods of rehab after a serious injury. We say how courageous they are. Why? Because they are facing something they are dreading, and dreading is another form of fear. So, what pain or grief or in other words, not facing a spider, but facing a long season of something that you have to endure, that would be more dread, right? That would be more dread. If you knew you had to face these things, if you knew you had to endure something for a long period of time, you would dread it. But it's still something that's happening in your mind, because dread actually means to anticipate with great apprehension, right? It's to anticipate something with great apprehension. But again, this is something that is going on in your mind. It again represents a judgment. We say things like, man, I dread the very thought of blank, right? I dread the thought of it. That's what's odd. We say we dread the thought of something, but yet we spend so much time thinking about that very dread. We dread the thought and then spend time in lots of those thoughts. Okay, so again, it's a reinforcing thing. Fear is reinforcing. It's the way the mind thinks it's wise to do this. Well, why do we do that? Because it's creating the giant. It is creating the giant. So again, the key here is to focus on building our strength, not focusing on what it is that we dread. If you are a stronger person and able to deal with things, then there you go. You're able to face something that would knock the other person out. Again, I know somebody who deals with chronic pain all the time, and she's able to endure what most of us would complain about, because she's had to endure so much more than we've ever thought possible. And so anybody who deals with chronic pain or chronic illnesses, they know what we're talking about. So for you, it's the same thing. Because of what they've gone through in the past, they've built up strength. So that gives them the ability to conquer. That gives them the ability to defeat giants. Do they dread things like we do? No. Because, again, they're used to long seasons of suffering. So when you're used to that, then it makes you that much more equipped to endure anything else that gets thrown your way. If you look at how they train, some of the special forces like the Navy SEALs, they're always throwing them in 50-degree water, and they're constantly freezing, constantly cold, constantly uncomfortable. Why? Well, because that's what war is going to bring them. They're going to be in uncomfortable situations. If you and I are not accustomed to discomfort, then 4 or 5 minutes of that stuff, and we're giving up and running back to the field house. Right? So if you need a soldier to get out there and endure these things for the sake of a battle, then you're going to have to prepare them for it by subjecting them to misery. But why? Because you're building up a tolerance. You're building up an inner strength. That's what it's about. Courage is about building up inner strength. So it's not so much, we talk about courage, we think of it in its regal form, we romanticize it, and we call it bravery, etc. Courage is actually somebody who's just very strong. Can you dig it? I hope you can.